What would you do for an apocalypse? New year, new set of movies, 2023, and I'm starting it off right with Noah Baumbach's movie version of White Noise. Is based on a novel by Don DeLillo, which is a postmodern book, so it's a lot of metafiction, it's a lot of commentary on consumerism, and this stars Adam Driver as Jack Gladney. He is a professor at the College on the Hill, and he teaches Hitler studies. And there's Don Cheadle is also another professor there, and he wants to teach about Elvis. And Greta Gerwig's the wife of Adam Driver's character. She plays Babette. There's also Andre 3000's in this. Jodie Turner-Smith is in this. There's a few other people. And it takes place in 1984, so basically at the height of consumerism in the Reagan era. If you've seen the trailers, you know there's impending doom, there's an impending apocalypse in it. But if you've not read the book, if you go into this thing blind, I think you're going to be shocked by it, in that you're probably not going to realize how much of a meta story this was, because it very much nails the 80s aesthetic. It very much nails what the ideal American home was in the 80s, in movies, in fiction, in just all the content from the 80s. So it just feels weird because you're watching something that's a commentary on the thing that it is actually happening in the movie. Don DeLillo's book is a lot about consumerism. It's about the ideal family, the family life, the oddities of being an American and just living in a capitalist society and a consumerism society. And it's just really great to see the book that I loved reading come to life. I know this has not got the best reviews, but I really enjoyed watching this book come to life. A lot of it felt like what I saw in my head. Like, I know a lot of people when they read books, they try to imagine what it is and get disappointed by the movie. Other than a couple scenes, I did not get disappointed in this movie. They really nail Heinrich, which is one of the kids. One of the other kids, I forget her name at the moment, but they really nail her too. And the dynamic between Babette and Jack is really good. Of course, Adam Driver he's just a goat at acting. And at some point he'll get an Oscar. Greta Gerwig is great as Babette. Obviously, I pictured Babette differently in my head, but I think over time I got used to Greta Gerwig as Babette. And Don Cheadle is great as the other professor. Andre 3000 shows up and wax poetic about stuff, which is just hilarious to me. A lot of this is like elevated humor, basically. I mean, it's Noah Baumbach. It's everything he does is like elevated humor in a way, except for Marriage Story and a couple other things. But there is humor in that. He goes for this like high ideas comedy where it's taking a stab at these sort of like privileged people. There's a lot of commentary from Adam Driver's character Jack where there's an apocalypse about to happen and he's like, oh, it's not going to happen to us. And he says a lot of examples and like very not things you're supposed to say, especially to your kids, but he ends up saying them. And I'm trying not to spoil too much, but it is just a really fun version of the book. I mean, it really felt like the book come to life. And I can't stress enough that if you've read the book, I think you will really enjoy this. Or just go in without reading anything or watching any trailers. Just watch it that way. I think you'll really enjoy it. But if you know like what the base story is about, you might be a little disappointed. I don't think this is a movie that's for everyone, obviously. This is probably more for film goers, people that have read the book. And, Noah Baumbach, after Marriage Story, he had to do something. And I love that he went for the meta story instead of going for just like another emotional epic movie. I think my one criticism is the end, the climax of the movie, doesn't hit the way I think Noah thought it would hit. And it doesn't play the way I envisioned it in the book. Like there are similarities, obviously. But I will say the end credits, you have to stay. Do not back out of your Netflix queue or whatever or however it works, your Roku device. I don't know. Just stay and watch the entire credit scene. Even if you don't like the movie, you'll like the end credit scene. It is just, I think it sums up the movie entirely. It's like, a lot of people, when they get to the end credits, are like, what did I just watch? What was this movie? And I think that is indicative of, Noah swung for the fences for this one. And I would rather creators swing for the fences than do something mundane or not unique. And this is really a unique movie. There's a scene where Adam Driver is trying to run to his family to get to his car. And just like people, there's a chaos, havoc happening, and just cars keep continually cutting him off. And it's just hilarious. Like, there are parts that are genuinely funny in this. And it's supposed to be a comedy, obviously, but there are some scary moments. There's definitely inspiration drawn from Poltergeist in this. There's things, obviously Spielberg is a real big topic in movies right now. And it obviously looks at those things and uses them to comment on consumerism, which was, again, huge in the 80s, probably at its apex. I think we're in a post-consumerism lifestyle right now. So it's very interesting to see like these commentaries on consumerism. I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 babas. It is just a really good, fun watch. It's about 2 hours, 20 minutes. I think, again, I already said this, but if you've never read the book, don't watch a trailer, just hit play. But if you have read the book, I think you'll enjoy it. And if you've already seen a trailer, I think you might be a little bit disappointed. So it's one of those movies where it's better to go in knowing nothing or knowing everything. And yeah, 2023, let's go.
Un esercito di